God reveals, I am so proud of you. 12 miraculous blessings await after this divine message. In the heart of a quaint English village, where rolling hills painted the landscape, a storm brewed in Sarah's life. She found joy in the laughter of her children and the loving support of her husband, but shadows loomed as financial strain tightened its grip. On that particular evening, the historic church stood aglow with flickering candles, casting divine light upon souls yearning for hope. As the congregation sang hymns, Sarah felt a wave of despair crash against her spirit. Doubt whispered, threatening to drown the flickering flame of her faith. Suddenly, amid the rising notes of a powerful chorus, a sacred hush enveloped the room. Sarah gasped as she felt something extraordinary. A warmth washed over her, like heavenly light piercing through the darkness. In that moment, a voice deep, resonant, and filled with love echoed in her soul, God is proud of your perseverance, blessings are coming. Tears streamed down her cheeks, and her heart swelled with optimism. She didn't quite understand it, yet she felt the undeniable assurance of divine promise, but as the days went by, winds of skepticism grew louder. Friends and family questioned her unwavering faith. Shouldn't you brace for what's to come, they suggest, eyes filled with concern. But Sarah clung tightly to that prophetic message, feeling a spirit of determination stir within her. Just as she thought she could hold on, disaster struck. Her younger son fell gravely ill, and the radiant laughter that once filled their home turned cold. The church, once a haven, felt heavy with despair. Sarah, heartbroken, knelt beside her son's bed, his small hand warm against her cheek. She cried out, Lord, please. Grant us a miracle. Her voice shook, but her heart held on, even as silence filled the room. As minutes turned into hours, doubt crept into her mind. She questioned everything. Would blessings truly come? Voices echoed more insistently now. Preparing for the worst felt safer than trusting in an unseen promise. Yet deep down, she held on to the flicker of hope ignited by that divine word. Before we continue, I need to tell you about something important that's happening. YouTube has been making changes to the system, and many people are losing notifications from channels they follow. If you're enjoying the content, click the bell and mark all notifications so you don't miss the next videos. And if you can leave a like, it really helps me with reach. Seriously, it makes a difference. Oh, tell me in the comments where you're watching from. I'm always curious to know who's on the other side of the screen. Now let's continue. As Sarah sat there in prayer, murmurs of a miracle began to ripple through the village. Whispers of healing and divine interventions filled the air, igniting flickers of hope in fellow believers. In a world heavy with uncertainty, Sarah suddenly sensed a shift. The air crackled with expectation, and she could almost feel the touch of heaven encircling her. Would her son recover? Would the blessings follow? The question hung in the air, weighted by a promise she desperately longed to grasp. In that sacred stillness, a presence emerged from beyond. A figure appeared at the doorway of the church, bathed in an ethereal glow that illuminated the dim light. The congregation's eyes widened, hearts raced, and a collective breath echoed through the space. The moment had arrived. Would the miracle transpire before her? Would her faith be rewarded, or would whispers of doubt silence the hope she held onto so fiercely? In the pause between breaths, anticipation hung thick, charged with divine potential. As the figure stepped into the light, Sarah felt her heart race. There was something profoundly comforting about this presence, an energy that wrapped around her like a warm embrace. The figure's face was kind, eyes gleaming with love. It was as if all the fears and doubts that plagued her vanished in that holy moment. The congregation whispered to one another in awe, a wave of hope washing through them. Who is it? Someone asked, their voice trembling with anticipation. Sarah placed her trembling hands together as if in prayer, waiting for this moment to unfold, the air thick with divine significance. She fought against the churn of worry in her heart, reminding herself of the promise she had received. Blessings were on the way. The figure spoke, his voice rolling across the church like the sound of a gentle stream. Do not fear, beloved. God has heard your cries, he sees your struggles. On this day, a miracle shall flourish from your faith. As the words resonated deep within her, Sarah felt a swell of peace flooding over her spirit. It was reassurance, though she didn't yet grasp the full scope of what he meant. While Sarah's mind raced with questions, the atmosphere thickened with expectations. The figure gestured towards the altar, where flickering candles danced erratically, as if moved by a breeze that went unseen. Suddenly, the flame of the candles blazed brighter, sending a cascade of golden light that drew the eyes of every believer in the room. Faith had ignited a spark that a hush fell again as the figure turned to face the congregation. Your collective prayers are powerful. Each whispered hope, every tear shed for your sister in Christ, for the mother who's struggling, for the father who has lost, has woven a tapestry of strength in God's kingdom. With each word, the room pulsed with life, hearts quickening at the promise of divine intervention. Then, slowly, he stepped toward Sarah. She felt as if the world around her had narrowed, and there was only her and this messenger of hope. You believed when all else seemed lost. Your son's south healing is drawing close, but hold fast to faith and know that true blessings arrive when hearts are aligned with God's will. Tears streamed down her cheeks, each one a silent prayer of gratitude. The strength of his declaration wrapped around her like a shield, pushing back the darkness that had crept into her thoughts. With every breath, the words resonated deeper, reassuring her that doubt would not prevail. As the atmosphere sizzled with divine energy, the figure glanced towards the back of the church. A gasp erupted as all eyes turned to see her son, Levi, appearing at the doorway, drawn by a force greater than himself. The room exploded with joy, a harmonious sound resonating around them, blending faith with love. He bore the face of innocence, yet there was a twinkle in his eye that spoke of newfound strength. But as Levi stepped closer, Sarah wasn't solely filled with elation. A wave of realization washed over her. The message was not only for her, it was for all. The promise was as much about the community's faith as it was about her son's healing. Would they come together now more than ever in gratitude? Would this moment unify them, igniting a renewed hope? With the miracle unfolding before her, Sarah could not help but wonder, what other blessings were now on the horizon? The promise of God was unfurling, and there was still so much to discover. As the figure vanished from sight, hope simmered thickly in the air. What lay ahead was a revelation not only about healing, but perhaps about a greater purpose yet unseen. Would the village embrace this divine moment? What transformations awaited them all in this intertwined journey of faith? The joy in the room was palpable, each person carrying their own flicker of hope, ignited by the miracle of Levi's return. Sarah's heart brimmed with gratitude, yet an undercurrent of uncertainty tugged at her soul. She looked around at her fellow believers, their faces illuminated with the warmth of newfound faith, and thought of the journey that had brought them to this moment. As Levi crossed the threshold, a ripple of energy coursed through the congregation. Whispers of excitement merged with expressions of disbelief, each soul wrestling with the enormity of the event. A hand reached for hers, tightening around Sarah's fingers, and she turned to see Esther, her dear friend, her eyes shining like stars in the night sky. "Can you believe it?" Esther asked, her voice trembling with emotion. "He is here. God has answered our prayers, Sarah." "Yes, he has," Sarah affirmed, her own heart soaring. Yet, she couldn't shake the feeling that this was just the beginning. Would Levi's healing bring them closer? Would it inspire a greater faith among the villagers weary from trials? Suddenly, a subtle shift in the atmosphere caught her attention. The air grew heavy with expectation, as a gentle wind seemed to sweep through the church, lifting the spirits of everyone present. The flickering candles brightened again, flickering not just with fire but with life. Sarah realized this moment was no mere spectacle, it felt like an invitation to something deeper. The figure who had delivered the message earlier, though invisible now, seemed to linger in the whispers of the air. What other miracles might unfold? Sarah mused, her thoughts swirling with possibilities. "Let us gather," an elder of the church, Mr. Thompson, spoke up, his voice breaking the charged silence. He stood, authority radiating from him. "This is a moment for prayer, a moment to come together and seek God's favor. Let us pray for Levi but also for one another. For peace. For healing. For our community. A wave of agreement washed over the congregation as they instinctively formed a circle, hearts intertwining in united purpose. Sarah felt the power of their collective faith rising. They stood hand in hand, the warmth of connection wrapping around them like a sacred blanket. Lord, Mr. Thompson intoned, his voice steady, we thank you for this miracle. We ask for your continued blessings upon Levi and every soul here. May this be the spark that ignites our spirits anew. As he prayed, the energy in the air grew denser, like a sweet aroma enveloping the church, each word resonating as a drumbeat of faith. Sarah closed her eyes tightly, surrendering to the moment, feeling as if they were somehow drawing nearer to the divine. Levi stood in the center of it all, his eyes alight with a clarity beyond his years. I felt the light pulling me here, he said, his voice childlike yet resonant with wisdom. I know now that I am never alone. The truth of his words struck Sarah like a gentle wave washing over her. In that moment, she understood, healing was not merely physical. It encompassed love, community, and unwavering faith. But as they prepared to close their circle, Sarah felt a sense of urgency rising within her. What awaited them at the end of this new chapter? Would the village rise in unison, finding strength and hope together? Or would doubts creep in once more, attempting to dim this spark of divine promise? As the prayers flowed, a thunderous roar of a sudden wind swept through the church once again, sending their hearts racing. Hope pulsed through the air, and the flag of faith waved high. What other surprises had God in store? The moment of collective revelation was approaching, and Sarah could only wait, filled with both dread and excitement, for the next unfolding miracle in their journey. As the prayers lifted, Sarah felt the thrum of energies in the room intertwining, vibrant and pulsating. Each face around her radiated an essence of pure hope, woven together yet distinctly individual. The moment seemed to stretch into eternity, filled with quiet awe and whispered promises. Mr. Thompson's voice rose, steady as a mountain. We seek your touch, Lord. You know our hearts. His words unfurled, painting a tapestry of intentions into the sacred atmosphere. Each believer's thoughts merged into a symphony of longing and gratitude, resonating through the very walls of the church. Sarah's gaze drifted momentarily to Levi. There he stood, a beacon amidst the fervor, his smile disarming the weight of their fears. I want to share something, he said suddenly, a childlike excitement bubbling beneath the wisdom of his experience. The congregation fell silent, anticipation thick in the air, as if they were on the brink of witnessing another wonder. When I was away, Levi continued, I saw how simple it is to trust, how beautiful it is to let go. I felt countless voices reaching for me, and I understood, it was our love, your love, that brought me back. The word struck a chord deep within Sarah. Love, such a small word, yet it fashioned miracles. It was the same force that had endured every trial in their lives. A gentle murmur rippled through the crowd, affirming Levi's wisdom, and she felt her heart quicken. That's it. Cried out Esther, squeezing Sarah's hand. Love is the answer. From our faith it flows through us. As they shared glances, it dawned on Sarah that Levi's return was merely a reflection of their strength, the depth of their bonds laid bare. The church swelled with emotion, tears flowed freely, laughter echoed, and the air was laced with a sacred sense of belonging. Then, a deeper wind whispered through the rafters like a choir of angels. Shadows danced upon the walls, and the light emanating from the candles morphed, casting a golden hue over the congregation. Sarah opened her heart to the moment, fully surrendering to the divine manifestation in her midst. Let us rejoice. Mr. Thompson exclaimed, his voice erupting into praise. For we are witnesses to his glory. As they burst into song, Sarah's spirit soared, entwined with those around her. Each note floated heavenward, beckoning all of heaven to join their celebration. The harmony turned their quiet heartbeats into a single, powerful pulse of shared joy, yet, beneath the elation, an inkling of trepidation still rested inside her. Would this awakening remain? Would they sustain this connection when the songs faded, when the winds of life blew harsh again? As if reading her thoughts, Levi leaned closer. Remember this, he said softly, making eye contact. In the light, we shine together. In the dark, we must hold each other tight. That's how miracles unfold. Just as those words settled, a vision swept through the space, illuminating their hearts with visions of hope, tangible dreams and promises of blessings waiting beyond their expectations. Yet her heart caught in her throat. What might these blessings entail? The air buzzed thick with anticipation as the congregation paused, hearts suspended, teetering on the edge of something monumental. A gentle thunder echoed outside, rumbling through the body of the church as the skies darkened ominously. It felt like a warning and a promise intertwined. Suddenly, the candles flickered wildly, snuffed out for just a moment, as the world around them stood on the precipice of divine revelation. What could this storm mean? Sarah held her breath, longing to know where this would lead them next. God's hand was clearly at work, weaving the threads of their lives into something even greater. Was the miracle held within the storm? Would they have the courage to face it? As hope gripped her heart anew, she found herself longing for the next unfolding mystery. What awaited at dawn? As the final notes of their song faded, a stillness enveloped the church. Sarah felt the electricity of those shared moments linger in the air, wrapping around her like a tender embrace. The congregation remained hushed, eyes wide, the anticipation palpable. They were all united by the same wonder, a shared expectation for what would come next. Levi's eyes scanned the faces around him, a subtle light of reassurance glowing within. We must not falter in this moment, he spoke, his voice steady but infused with a gentle urgency. The storm outside may roar, but what we hold inside is stronger still. At once, Sarah sensed the tension in her chest ease. It was true, even amid uncertainty, love was their unshakable foundation. Mr. Thompson stepped forward, his hand raised. Let us turn our hearts inward, even as the skies rage outward. We have weathered storms before. The congregation murmured their agreement, voices rising softly in unison like waves gathering strength before crashing ashore. Sarah closed her eyes, picturing the storm's clouds, heavy, dark, yet knowing they would inevitably give way to light. There was beauty in the trials they molded and shaped them even when the path felt treacherous. Then, through the darkness, a flicker sparked, one candle ignited, then another, each flame flickering back to life miraculously. It was as though they were being reignited by a divine breath. As light flooded the church once more, an overwhelming warmth enveloped them. His presence is among us, Levi declared, his voice rising above the flickering sounds of the relit candles. These flames remind us of hope, of his promises, and our resilience. We are never truly lost. Tears surfaced in many eyes, including Sarah's, grief and joy intermingled, creating a sweet ache in her heart. For every sorrow they had borne, there was now a brightness unveiled. Levi's words resonated, and she felt her spirit swelling with an unmistakable assurance. At that moment, the wind outside howled louder, dark clouds shifted, looming, yet in the heart of the church, everything felt like a sanctuary. Couples embraced, fingers intertwined, and laughter broke through the heaviness, a spirit of togetherness that echoed within the walls. God is revealing himself to us, Esther exclaimed, raising her arms in praise. The blessing is here. We have only to open our eyes. And just as the last echo of her words faded, Sarah sensed a ripple flowing through the assembly, a collective heart beating as one, yearning for understanding. Suddenly, a blinding light filled their midst, a cascade of golden hues cascading from an unseen source, enveloping every soul in the room. What is happening? Someone whispered, awestruck. Sarah opened her eyes again, as if shaking off sleep. The light glimmered like 1,000 tiny stars, dancing around, whispering secrets of comfort and promise. In the midst of that cosmic illumination, a voice resonated, soft, gentle yet omnipotent. My beloved children, I am proud of you. Tears streamed down Sarah's face. Love flooded her heart beyond comprehension. Each word settled like a balm over the anxieties that once gripped her. Fear not, the voice continued. 12 blessings await, each a reflection of your faith. Prepare your hearts for the unexpected joy to unfold. As the congregation trembled at the beautiful revelation, questions buzzed through Sarah's mind. What could these blessings be? What would they need to face in the wake of such an incredible message? The words hung in the atmosphere, tangible and heavy. An inner knowing ignited within her, a thirst for more understanding. Was the storm solely a harbinger of lessons yet to come? With hearts aligned, they braced themselves, ready to embrace whatever was to come. The dawn never felt nearer. Would they witness the miracle bring new life? With hearts open, they ventured into the sacred unknown. The church was electric, filled with the energy of faith, and Sarah's heart raced as she processed the divine message reverberating off the walls, settling deep into her spirit. Levi stood firm at the front, eyes bright with anticipation. His gaze swept over each member of the congregation, urging them to receive the grace that swelled in the room. Let us hold on to that promise. He encouraged, his voice lifting above the murmurs that drifted like soft waves of prayer. 12 blessings await us. We are called to embrace them, to grow through this time. Are you ready? His question hung in the air, a challenge and an invitation all at once. There was a moment of silence, hanging thick with potential, before a unified response erupted, voices rising to fill the space, asserting their readiness to embrace whatever came next. Yes. They exclaimed together, a chorus of earnest souls, promises exchanged in heartbeats. The bright light that surrounded them pulsed gently, as if in rhythm with their affirmations. Sarah felt the energy wrapping around her, embracing her like a warm blanket. Every flickering candle became a beacon of hope, illuminating their declarations of faith. I feel a stirring, Emma murmured, tears cascading down her cheeks. Can you sense it? Something new is on the horizon. Yes. An elderly woman in the corner shouted, lifting her hands. After darkness comes light. It's how he builds us. Her voice, though aged, rang with unwavering strength, a testament of years spent trusting in unseen promises. As the congregation continued to share their excitement, a hush suddenly enveloped everyone, blanketing them in reverence. It was as if an unseen hand had pressed pause on the world outside. Sarah closed her eyes again, allowing the grace-filled atmosphere to wrap her in stillness. Breathe deeply, my beloved, the voice returned, gentle yet profound. Take in my love, and let it flow through you. In that moment, Sarah felt the breath of God filling every void, sweeping through every corner of her heart. With every breath, fear dissipated like mist clearing away at dawn. The noise of the storm outside began to fade. It was now just white noise, distant and irrelevant. She opened her eyes to see Levi pointing toward the door, where the tempest raged just beyond the threshold. Let it blow, he stated firmly. It cannot touch the light we've ignited. The outside may shake, but within us, we are fortified with his spirit. As the winds howled, a powerful sense of unity knit them tightly together. They were branches on the same vine, their roots dug deep into faith's soil. Picking up on the shared awareness, Sarah felt the urge to declare her own promise. Together, we will not falter. Amen. Rose the echo, a reinforced commitment to remain steadfast through whatever trials awaited them, emboldened by shared faith. Soft murmurs of blessings began to circulate, each one a varying thread in the tapestry of hope. Healing, provision, guidance, the words began to flow, each member claiming their blessing. Sarah leaned into the vibrations of their declarations, letting their shared desires lift her spirit higher. The 12 blessings felt like a divine tapestry being woven, filaments of grace intertwining within the congregation's heart, yet, as anticipation built, a question tugged at her. What would each blessing reveal? What trials would accompany them? An overwhelming sense of purpose coursed through her. There was a call to step forward, to embrace the unknown and trust in the unfolding. The blinding light faded slightly, but its warmth remained, allowing them to breathe deeply and look towards the future. As their hearts intertwined, deeply rooted in hope, Levi's voice lifted once more. Are you prepared then to face what lies ahead? Will you bear witness to the miraculous? His words painted visions of unimaginable possibilities, the journey yet to come, fully embracing the unknown, and so, they stood together, hearts poised, ready to receive, ready to embrace the unfolding of his blessings. What would the next chapter hold? Would they manifest divine joy or face unforeseen challenges along the way? With faith carrying them forward, they took the first step into the sacred mystery ahead. The air shifted. An unseen current flowed through the packed hall. Sarah's heart beat steadily in rhythm with the fervent whispers surrounding her. The storm outside raged on, but within the haven of their church, a different kind of tempest brewed, a tempest of hope and anticipation. Levi spoke again, his voice steady, yet imbued with a weight that brought a hush over the congregation. In this moment of waiting, I sense that each of you is being shaken, just as the rafters of this building tremble against the wind. But here's the truth, it's a holy shaking, a preparation for what's to come. Sarah's pulse quickened. She could feel the stirring in her spirit, an electric pulse shuddering through her as if she were a tightly wound spring just waiting to be released into an act of faith. Embrace the trembling, he continued. For in trembling, we become vulnerable to receive his blessing. The room nodded, a collective sigh echoing as hearts opened wider. Then, Levi continued, often, we think we must be strong and composed, but God delights in our honest cries and trembling hands. He sees when we submit to him, fully trusting in his power to lead us through any storm. Tears pricked at Sarah's eyes as she looked around, others were moved too. Faces were alight with revelation as each one considered their journey. The elderly woman whose voice carried such strength now had her hands clasped tightly, her lips moving in silent prayer. Let me share what I have received, Levi said, glancing toward the flickering candles. I believe that the first blessing we will encounter is healing body, mind, and spirit. There are those among us who have battled ailments unseen, emotional pain hidden. In faith, we will cry out for healing, and he will respond. Yes, Lord. Someone shouted from the back, igniting a ripple of affirmation that coursed through the crowd like fire. Sarah found herself lifting her hands, overcome with the weight of agreement. Second. Levi declared, his eyes sparkling with fervor. Provision. Our God will supply our needs according to his riches in glory. There will be no lack where his blessings flow. Amen. Rang from the congregation, and Sarah felt another wave of joy wash over her. The thrill of expectancy enveloped her, each proclamation sending shivers of hope down her spine. Levi paused, allowing their journey of divine expectation to settle in. Thirdly, we will receive guidance. We have all felt lost at times, haven't we? But our faithful shepherd knows the paths we should take. Are we ready to trust in his leading? Yes. Came a soaring chorus, powerful and genuine, yet, in the cradles of her spirit, Sarah sensed the divine flickering like the candles before them. What other blessings could he offer? Each felt sacred, yet she couldn't shake a lingering fear. Be prepared. Levi warned gently, sensing the weight of her thoughts. Sometimes, blessings arrive dressed in challenges. Be watchful. Let your eyes be attuned to the miracles sprouting from difficulties. The thought nestled in Sarah's heart, sparking both a sense of wonder and trepidation. What will the next blessings require of us? She wondered, heart racing as she discussed the implications with the silent depths of her being. As the congregation whispered, what could possibly come next? Sarah felt the tiniest flicker of uncertainty, mingled with excitement. They had committed to a journey of faith. Would they uncover true purpose through it all? Aware that a time of testing might accompany their blessings, she steadied herself. They were not just waiting. They were participating in an unfolding tapestry of love and light. Levi's voice rang clear as he concluded their gathering. Let us embrace the journey ahead. Hold your hearts open, he who promised is faithful. Together, we will witness the miraculous. The congregation raised their voices in a decisive affirmation, but even as they rejoiced, Sarah couldn't help but think. What other trials awaited them? Would faith be enough to see them through? Each heartbeat echoed a question: could they remain steadfast as the Blessings poured into their lives. And then there was the silence, the calm before the divine storm, the promise of more to come. The air seemed to shimmer with a soft light as the congregation lingered, heart still fluttering in the wake of Levi's words. Sarah felt as if she were suspended in a sacred moment, the boundaries of time and place fading away. It was as if heaven itself had opened just a little. A hush fell over the gathering. Eyes turned toward Levi, who stood as a channel of divine inspiration. Sarah could see the intensity of focus on his face, every line etched with purpose. He had ignited something in them, a fire that couldn't be easily extinguished. They were all siblings in faith now, connected by the unshakable bond of shared hope. "Let us take a moment," Levi urged, his voice soft yet powerful. "To simply be still and know." He closed his own eyes, and the congregation followed, entering a meditative state, waiting, hoping, expecting. Sarah felt herself sink deeper into the quiet place, the rustling of bodies and the distant howl of the storm melding into a symphony of worshipping hearts. Was this what it meant to be still? To feel the warmth of every person around her, their aspirations mingling in the air like incense rising before the throne of grace. As they sat in that sacred stillness, a gentle nudge of inspiration washed over Sarah like a whisper carried on the wind. It was an assurance that she wasn't alone. The very thought of others bearing their burdens alongside her ignited compassion in her spirit. Sometimes, in the depths of our trials, we find that we are not disconnected. Levi spoke again, his voice reverberating through the hush. God leads us through the valleys to find him in ways we never could have imagined. A shiver ran down Sarah's spine. Struggling turned into strength, and sorrow morphed into joy. Perhaps this was the blessing birthed from hardship, a clandestine treasure hidden in the soil of their experiences. "Let us lift our voices together," Levi beckoned gently. "In every heart, there's a story. Let us share our tales of how we've seen God's hand at work in the hard times." The room swelled with murmurs and snippets of testimonies. One by one, voices rose, sharing moments of grace amid trials, and Sarah felt her heart expand with each story. There was the couple who had faced financial ruin, yet found their way back through unexpected generosity. A young man, trembling yet determined, recounted how he had battled depression, yet discovered healing through committed community and prayer. Yes, she thought. This is what it means to be part of the body of Christ. The tapestry was being woven right before her eyes, threads of individual struggles stitched together with divine love. Sarah felt a deep stirring within. Was her journey misunderstood? Did her moments of darkness hold seeds that could grow into something extraordinary? Could all hearts be graced with the light of redemption if they dared to share? Levi raised his hands as the last testimony echoed away. There is strength in our stories, our struggles, and our victories. Together, we are fortified. Are we ready to see his promises fulfilled? A chorus of agreement erupted from the depths of their souls, shaking the rafters once again. With renewed anticipation, Sarah sensed a stirring once more. What would it mean for them as individuals and as a community to embrace these blessings that came through trials? She grasped her hand, feeling the familiar tremor of joy and a hint of fear all wrapped in one. "We're on the brink of something great," Levi declared, his voice a beacon illuminating the room. But let us remember, awaiting a promise can sometimes involve wading through discomfort. Are we prepared to embrace this next step? Sarah's heart thundered as she pondered his words. There was a horizon before them full of promise, but also veiled in the unknown. What awaited them on this journey? Would their faith be tested beyond their limits? As the congregation rose for prayer, a new understanding settled in the glorious blending of fear and faith. She knew there was more to uncover. As they lifted their hands together, she realized it was just beginning. What divine revelation would unfold in their hearts next? As prayer filled the room, an electric anticipation buzzed like a vibrant current of energy. Sarah closed her eyes, allowing her heart to soften under the weight of hope. The soft rustle of fabric and the collective exhale of breath surrounded her, creating an atmosphere that felt alive. She sensed that they were all leaning toward something monumental, something miraculous, Levi began to pray, his voice weaving through the silence like a gentle stream. Lord, he called out, we come together, believing in your promises, trusting in your plans. Show us the way, bring forth the blessings you have prepared. His words danced upon the air, each one a vessel for their mutual faith. As the prayer continued, Sarah's spirit surged with eagerness. She felt a collective yearning in the room, a truth that stretched their hearts open, like flowers reaching for the dawn. She could see faces turned toward heaven, expressions of hope mingling with tears. These tears were not of sorrow but of unbridled joy, a release of the burdens they whispered of earlier, and then silenced. In that moment, a stillness that seemed both tangible and ethereal enveloped them. Sarah sensed a presence, not just of her fellow believers but of something greater. It was as if the very walls pulsed with a heartbeat of divine connection. She opened her heart, and what she received was a warmth that radiated from within, a feeling that clutched her being. Listen, Levi said softly, as if sensing the sacred atmosphere. What I believe God is telling us today is that every step we take, even in uncertainty, shapes our destiny. We are being drawn close. With a sudden boldness, Levi continued, how many times have we doubted our worth? How often have we felt insignificant in the grand design? I sense God saying, I am proud of you, beloved. Every trial you faced, every tear you shed, it counts. A murmur of agreement rippled through the congregation. Each soul resonated with the truth Levi proclaimed. Sarah's heart raced. She felt it deep within her bones, the divine affirmation that she was enough, that all her struggles led to something far greater than herself. As Levi spoke, visions danced in Sarah's mind, visions of her family, of the lost moments, moments tucked away in shadows, the painful memories that seemed to shape her but now flickered with potential. Perhaps those moments of darkness were preparing her for an entirely new light. Levi then called for anyone who felt moved to share what God had been laying on their hearts. One after another, brave souls rose with trembling voices, proclaiming their visions of future blessings, a blossoming of freedom from addiction, dreams ignited like sparks from a flickering flame, and promises courageously claimed. Hope was spreading, a tapestry of shared faith brightly lighting the room. Nervous but emboldened, Sarah decided to stand. I want to share, she murmured, and the warmth of acceptance swelled around her. I've struggled with feeling worthy, like I'm never enough. But now, I realize that my past does not define me. The air crackled with expectation. I know He has been preparing me for something great, even when I couldn't see it. An overwhelming sense of solidarity enveloped her, as hands reached out to her, squeezing hers in support. Tears streamed down her cheeks, but for the first time, they were tears of hope, not despair. Levi smiled, his eyes sparkling with encouragement. That's it. Every act of vulnerability creates bridges. Together, we rise in faith toward the promises waiting for us. The congregation began to sway, worship songs rising, voices blending in harmonies of pure celebration. Sacred words flowed from every corner, filling the room with a sound so beautiful, it felt heavenly. Sarah's spirit soared as she sang, each note lifting her higher, all righting her broken places, yet even amid the joy, she felt a shadow of uncertainty creeping back in. Could she really hold on to this truth? Would the world dim the light of this moment when faced with trials once more? As the music peaked, Levi raised his hands again. Let us never forget, we are anchored in love. With each new day, there are gifts waiting to be unwrapped. Can we commit to seek them together? A powerful amen swept through the gathering, echoing off the walls. Sarah clenched her hands, her heart still racing. What miraculous blessings awaited them, shimmering just beyond the horizon? Would they stand firm, or would fear lead them astray? In the center of that sacred place, she sensed the threshold was open. God was revealing something profound. The door had just begun to crack, and the tapestry was still being woven. What would it look like as they stepped truly into the light? As the atmosphere thickened with divine anticipation, Sarah's heart raced with the intersection of joy and uncertainty. The congregation swayed to the sound of their collective faith, but beneath the surface, Sarah felt a charge of urgency. Levi's voice rang clear, beckoning their attention. In the face of blessings, we must take a moment of gratitude. Count what you have received. Acknowledge the light breaking through the clouds. His words, a call to reflection, rippled through her soul. In that sacred silence, something began to unfurl within Sarah. Where once doubt clouded her mind, now a vibrant clarity emerged. She thought of Levi's healing and the newfound strength in their community, and new threads of understanding intertwined with her once heavy heart. "Lord, I thank you," she whispered as the warmth of gratitude enveloped her. "For faith, for healing, for the hope we share." Her words danced along with a melody of murmurs from the congregation, each heartfelt acknowledgement adding to the resonance of gratitude filling the church. As if in response, the flickering candles ignited with renewed brilliance, washing over them in waves of golden light. "Let us not delay in embracing our blessings," Levi proclaimed. "Count them as we enter this next chapter together. 12 blessings await, and they are healing the wounds of our hearts." Levi's enthusiasm ignited a spark, transforming the hushed reverence into a joyful cadence. Sarah felt the tide rise, hearts intertwining in an intricate bond of faith. One by one, voices echoed through the beloved space, recounting personal miracles and manifestations. A young mother spoke of finding unexpected support during her struggles, filling the room with shared breath. An elder, his voice deep and steady, recounted how health had returned through unwavering prayer. Each story served as a building block in their shared faith, a testimony of resilience and divine love. Love has transformed us, Sarah thought, a wave of warmth washing over her as she realized the power of their shared experience. These were not merely blessings but foundations that would hold them together through new storms. "Now," Levi continued, with his voice rich with purpose, "let us turn our focus outward, into our village." Every heart was quickened, a harmonious expectation synchronized. "Together, we will share this light. We will reflect His glory into the lives of those yet to know these blessings." An electrifying energy zapped through the room, as smiles illuminated faces filled with hope, ready to embark on the next miraculous adventure. As beams of light mingled with the whispers of gratitude, Sarah envisioned every heart in the room expanding, reaching beyond the walls of their church, spilling over into the village like a flowing river of grace. What awaited them out there? Would they witness transformation beyond their imagination? The congregation rose from their seats, a wave of eagerness coursing through them. They felt like branches reaching toward the sky, tethered together, growing in unity. Sarah pumped her fists, letting the joy swell in her heart as the desire to bring forth change surged within her. Together, she echoed Levi's words silently, "We will fulfill the calling of these blessings." And then, a sudden gust of wind rattled through the church, a whisper of divine clarity sweeping into their midst. The candles flickered and danced, echoing their anticipation. "Fear not." Levi spoke up, his voice booming above the rustle of life swirling around them. "For even in the face of the storm, we are protected, we are loved, we are fiercely connected." "Yes, we are." They shouted in return, an overwhelming tide of affirmation. At that moment, Sarah felt a divine thread knotting their hearts. Their spirits entwined, holding steadfast against doubt, ready to embrace the blessing in every challenge. The storm outside raged on, but inside the church, it felt like the dawn breaking through the night. "Prepare yourselves, beloved," Levi declared, beaming with conviction. "There is a world out there longing for the kind of love we now possess. We are to manifest light, to be vessels of hope wrapped in faith. Are you ready to step out?" "Yes." They resounded, their voices a torrent of hope. With that, they stepped forth, a congregation transformed, each heart aglow with divine promise. Together, they emerged into the world beyond, eager to share their stories, their miracles, and the 12 blessings that awaited all who dared to dream in faith. In the warmth of their unity, they became a beacon, a lighthouse guiding those lost at sea, a testament to the immense power of God's love woven through trials. Sarah's heart brimmed as she took each step alongside her fellow believers, ready now to face the challenges ahead, knowing that they did not walk alone, this was not merely an ending but the magnificent beginning of a journey that would ripple through layers of life, a wondrous journey birthed in faith and sustained by the blessings of God, and as they walked together, she felt the gentle pull of divine destiny guiding them, inviting them to embrace every future possibility. For with hearts aligned, anything was possible now, my friends, this is your moment. You need to subscribe immediately to the channel so you don't miss the next exclusive faith stories that will inspire your spirit. Leave a like now to feed the algorithm and let others find this encounter of miraculous blessings. Share your thoughts and reactions in the comments below. Your testimony matters. And don't wait even one more second to share this video with at least 5 friends who need to see this manifestation of hope and love. Let us spread this light together.